Good evening, everyone. We're going to get started here in a couple of minutes. There are a few people still coming in, but I know it's a weekday evening, and I don't want to let this linger too long. So while people are coming in, I'll do some quick preliminary information, and then we can get started with everybody get settled. First, I want to take a moment to thank the congregation and church leadership for allowing us to come into this space. And in just a minute, you're going to hear a couple words from the administrator, Samuel Bouele. Now, how many people have been in the space in the last couple of years? Anybody here? You have. Okay, so a couple people have. But many of us have lived here for decades remember coming to this space all the time. This is a performance space. We saw shows here, the Upper Monroe Players with Gilbert and Sullivan. It was really super fun, right? Yes, super fun. And there's a long history of this building with the neighborhood. This was built in the late 19th century. It was called the Mount Hor Church, a biblical reference, H-O-R. And this was called the Mount Hor Neighborhood, after the church. Later on, it became the Pinnacle Neighborhood, and then it kind of separated off into separate streets. There was the Crosman Park Neighborhood Association. Some of the streets had individual associations. And someday I'll post on that to the newsletter for those that follow the newsletter. But without further ado, let me have Samuel come and talk a little bit about the church and what they're doing, and then we'll get started with the program.
In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, to the precious blood of our Lord Jesus Christ, now and forevermore. My name is Brother Samuel Bouele. I am the administrator of Brotherhood Crossing Star, Rochester Cathedral. And before I say anything, I would like to give all the glory and grace to the Holy Spirit of God who allow us to be here in this room. And with that, I pray that this meeting be peaceful and constructive. I would like to introduce to you the priest of this cathedral. Her name is Christ Ambassador Gladys Onyebo. And over there we have our beloved sister. She is native of Rochester, and Sister Rayona Bouele. And so thank you so much for being here. Before I start, I would like to have a request toward the mayor of Rochester. We have been trying to get a hold or have a meeting with the mayor of Rochester. And I would like to take this opportunity to request an audience with the mayor. I know that he has a very busy schedule. If he can allow to the administration of the executive of Rochester, maybe to have a 5-10 minutes sitting with him, so that not only we can pray for him, pray for the entire government of Rochester, and pray for this community. I'm going to start by giving or letting everybody know a little bit about what Brotherhood of Crossing Star have done here in Rochester. Briefly, in about 5 minutes. In 2022, we were in summer of 2022 and 2023, we were involved with the Center for Youth, where we got food donation and essential. I don't know if you remember, there was a time when there were a lot of baby formula shortages and things like that in the whole country. And we assisted the teenage mothers through the Center for Youth with baby formula and things like that. In summer of 2024, we did a lot of activity, especially here. I don't know, we still have an old flyer there. We had a conference here in this location about women, children, family, the role of women and children in this community, and how important they are in the sight of God. So, and then during this event, we received a lot of children. I believe somewhere out there we have, there's a shelter house or a foster house. A lot of, somewhere in Monroe, I don't know. So a lot of children came in, and then they were able to learn about how to eat healthy. Because a lot of our kids here, they don't know what is the meaning of healthy food. So we showed them and demonstrated to them how you can make a vegetarian meal in 5 minutes, and very basic, very, very easy. And they brought more of their friends to come and test the food, and then they really liked it. We also got involved it was December of last year, there is elderly community housing community for elderly next to the Jewish synagogue and I believe Cobb Hill Park, somewhere in that area. We have been giving away a lot of essential, like water, especially during the summer. We do that a lot. And we provided them with some reading. What we call everlasting gospel is a reading that gives them peace, hope, faith, and all of the above. And this summer, in July 19, we interacted with House of Mercy. That's what it is. It's a shelter somewhere in downtown. And we went, not only we pray for everybody, we gave them advice, counseling, spiritual counseling, and then we provided them with essentials for toiletry, because those are the things that they always need. So we went, and then we did that at least twice this year so far. And when I look at you, coming back to you, I would like to let you know that Brotherhood Crossing Star is at the service of this community. And we are here to serve the community. And also, when you see this hall right here, I heard from Mr. Ron Shelley that this place used to be a theater, a performance hall. Yes. So we also would like to put this hall at the disposal of this community right here. And if, for example, somebody wants to organize maybe a birthday like for this little, we call it a Sabbath. Little children are called Sabbath. So, and in a safe environment, yeah, you can reach out to me. I'm going to have some of my contact information over there. Or you can go to Mr. Romchelli, and he can easily get in contact with me, and then we can see how this will take place. Again, I would like to reiterate toward the mayor of Rochester. I will appreciate if you can have an audience. And thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you very, very much. What a generous spirit and a loving sensibility on his parish and in the community. If you are a community connector or you are an officer of the Upper Monroe Neighborhood Association, could you please stand? The association now has 12 members, of which there are 4 officers and then 8 community connectors. And the community connectors are spread throughout the neighborhood. And their sort of job is to report back in and share information as we go along the way. So you look for them. Hey, nice to see you. Another community connector over there. Thank you for coming. And now, briefly, let me just introduce our invited guests from the mayor's office. And I'm so pleased to have you tonight. We have John Brach, who is assistant to the mayor, coming. Thank you very much for coming out to hear hear what people are experiencing in our neighborhood. And I'll let you to speak in just a moment, John. Let me just quickly introduce others. Mary Lupine is here. She is the East District representative. She represents our neighborhood on City Council. And a special thanks tonight. This is so exciting. I can't believe I'm saying this out loud. Last night, Mary and her colleagues on council approved a Cobbs Hill Preservation District. This is the first preservation district in Rochester since 1993. Thank you very much. We also have Mary McClellan is here from something in Harry Bronson's office. If you could just stand and wave and say hello. Thank you very much for coming. Harry is on his honeymoon, right? He's traveling. He couldn't come tonight. He wanted to come. He said, should I stay on my honeymoon? Should I come here? He decided to stay there. Well, thank you for coming, Mayor. We appreciate it. We know that he's interested and he cares about the people in the community here. I don't know, is there someone here from Senator Samuel Brooks' office? Oh, wonderful. Yes, thank you so much. Could you say your name, please? Thank you very, very much. We hope to hear from you later tonight. Thank you. Senator Brooks has come to our meetings before. She's spoken to our group and did a wonderful job, and we appreciate her care for the community as well. John McMahon is here. John, could you stand in the back? Take a look in the back. John, he is the administrator for the Neighborhood Service Center. So when you call 311, their first call is, well, it might be to John. That's sort of his world. He administers that organization for the city of Rochester. Jen Plunkett is here. Jen, where are you? Jen's in the back. Who? Anybody here know Aaron's Alley? Anybody heard of that? Aaron's Alley? Give it up for Aaron's Alley. Jen is here not only for Aaron's Alley, she's also here for the Monroe Avenue Merchants Association. Jen has been instrumental in driving that organization for many, many years, revitalizing it. She wears many hats. She's also here representing the Monroe Avenue Revitalization Coalition, a group that I serve on, Jen serves on, and the head of the neighborhood associations all down Monroe Avenue are also on that committee. We met, in fact, today, and we meet every other week. Shockingly enough, we've been doing that for more than a year. And then, I don't know if Mark Washburn's here, or Dan McCabe. There are a couple of folks from the Lock 66 organization that are also on the Monroe Avenue Revitalization Coalition. And I see Nick here is from the SEEK, Southeast Area Coalition. Anybody know about Southeast Area Coalition? Another great organization, long history in Rochester, advocating for community and advocating for small groups like the Upper Monroe. They are our fiscal sponsor this year. We got a grant from the city, a NIA grant. By the way, that's what paid for these fire extinguishers. And SEEK is our administrator for that. So thank you very much to SEEK, for Mike Evans, who's away right now. But Nick, thanks for coming. Okay, I think we're going to have John come up. And John, let me do a couple of jokes. Oh, Linda. I'm sorry, I didn't see you. There you are. Linda Hassman is here, and she represents the 23rd County Legislative District. So that's our neighborhood, and she lives in the ABC Streets neighborhood, and thank you very much for coming. And Beth Seaver is here as well, here representing Mitch Gruber, and we appreciate, Mitch couldn't be here tonight, but Beth comes to many of our meetings. We appreciate you coming here on behalf of Mitch, and you'll have a chance to say hello a little later on also. Let me give you just a quick rundown of what we're going to do. We're going to have John come and talk about what happened and what is going to happen going forward. We'll have a chance to ask a few questions if there are any. I suspect there will be. We're going to invite you to come up and tell your story, what happened in your life and your property, and you'll be able to do that and midway through. Then we'll have anybody who would like to talk about the business community can come up and have a chance to chat about what's happening to their businesses. And then we're going to have Mary, maybe John will come back, and perhaps Beth and others who represent elected officials come and talk about what they're hearing tonight, ideas and thoughts around what they've heard. So I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to John to talk a little bit about what happened and where are we now and what will come next.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you all for having me. Thank you, Samuel, for hosting and for praying for us, and we can certainly talk afterwards about that meeting. The mayor and the rest of our team are currently at our employee recognition event over at Hochstein. It's a very key pillar of our administration. We take care of our people who do amazing things for this community. But I'm very happy to be here representing him and our administration. And please don't read anything into the fact that he decided I was the one employee not needed at the award ceremony.
Thanks for coming last night.
Absolutely.
It was really, really good.
Yeah. So, yeah, I just want to start by saying that we feel very much for everyone who was affected by the water main break. The probably 100,000 plus residents who had an interruption of their water service on that Saturday night.
It's not water service.
I'm sorry.
Not water.
So I'm referring to the
Water damage.
understood, sir. Sorry. The people who've been dealing with the road being out, and most of all, everyone who has had water damage to their properties. As you probably all realize now, Monroe Avenue is not just a major vehicular thoroughfare, it's also a major water thoroughfare for the city of Rochester. Underneath the avenue, there are actually two mains. One is a 36-inch transmission main, we call it. It is the largest type of water pipe we have in the city of Rochester. It's the same diameter as the pipes that come from Hemlock Lake up to the city. We also have a 12-inch distribution main, which is what feeds most of the smaller pipes that then run down the side streets and bring water to your homes. The median age of our water mains in the city is 101 years. We do have a ongoing maintenance program. We recondition water mains as needed. We replace water mains. So what happened on Saturday, September 13th, shortly after noon, the city started to receive calls reporting water showing on Monroe Avenue. At approximately 12:30, City Water Bureau personnel responded to Monroe Avenue between Rosedale and Harwood in response to those calls and confirmed that water was showing on the roadway. The water employee conducted a sound survey. They use specialized sound equipment that they hook up at the hydrants to listen for leaks. They detected a leak. This is a standard, I should say the sounding is the industry standard. Our people are generally quite good at it. They detected a leak. It seemed like a fairly small leak occurring on the 12-inch distribution main, they believed at the time, in the vicinity of Harwood Street using the sounding equipment. Subsequently, a supervisor came to the scene and did the same thing and confirmed the finding of the water technician who did the initial sounding. And steps were taken, mainly valves were closed in an attempt to isolate the portion of the main that was believed to be leaking at the time. And I should note, leaks are common. Leaks are not catastrophic generally, and they're also not perceived by our sensing equipment. So we have at the outflows of the major reservoirs, also at Hemlock, we have equipment that measures the flow rate, measures the pressure, and so leaks never show up. This leak did not show up either. And so the approach to a leak on a weekend is to isolate the leak, come back to basically when the whole crew on Monday to come back to further investigatory work and fix the leak. And also, so to monitor, in the meantime. So when a water employee was in the vicinity at roughly 8 p.m., they observed a significantly greater flow of water onto the street, indicating that the leak had worsened. That employee contacted a supervisor who immediately proceeded to go to the location. At 9:04 p.m., the break occurred on the 36-inch transmission main out here. And we know the exact time because you can see it in that equipment I mentioned earlier. The flow rate shoots up dramatically and the pressure shoots down dramatically. That supervisor who was en route arrived virtually simultaneous with the break occurring. They immediately began to initiate steps to isolate now the 36-inch main. They called in all on-call staff. They notified RPD to close Monroe. They began, with the staff who arrived, to close the valves to control the 36-inch main, which I believe there's one up at the gatehouse, the outflow house of Cops Hill Reservoir. The next one, I think, is down at Field Street. They closed those. They have to close those gradually because if you stop the massive flow of water suddenly, it can actually cause another break. So they set that process in motion. And I should note here as well, we were dealing with both a local crisis. Certainly, it's been a crisis for your neighborhood, and at that time, especially a citywide crisis where people are realizing they don't have water all over the city, even on the other side of the river. We were hearing from people that they didn't have water. I was down at Easton Alexander. I'm one of the people who works on our entertainment zone, and all of a sudden, bartenders and so on are coming out and saying, we don't have water, what's going on? And there's thousands of people and you need toilets to work and so on, right? So as we're shutting off the flow here, because pressure is dropping citywide and people are losing service, we also added water from other sources in other parts of town, which included, we have a booster station on Mount Reed that actually takes Monroe County water and put it into the system. And there's a bypass for Highland Reservoir that can take basically Highland water and put it into parts of the city grid that wouldn't normally have Highland water. And I just want to note, we did that and one of the main reason that we did that, besides the inconvenience of people being without water, is that if pressure drops below a certain threshold for a certain period of time, and it's kind of a formula, that's when you get into potentially contamination of the water supply, because the water supply relies on the pressure from the pipe outward to keep bad stuff from getting into the water. And so we're basically rushing to try to prevent a boil water advisory that could have applied for several days for probably 100,000 plus people in the city. And so, but I also want to mention that by doing that, we're doing that, from the west side, also from over here. The flow, it did not add to the flow coming out here because there's so much water up at Cobb's Hill that this was already at maximum flow pouring out, unfortunately. So it was approximately an hour after the break that we got the valves closed all the way, which ceased the water, of course, from coming out of the opening over here. I want to address a little bit about some of the steps taken after. As you know, of course, we had to close Monroe Ave. The city engineer put in place signage to try to keep people from cutting through the side streets too much. We did hear some feedback about that people were racing down side streets, that there were cars, passing too close to each other. She did make changes to the plan because of that. We're also trying, the thing that we think we can do to alleviate that the most is to get this road open SAP. We're working, as fast as we can towards that, and it looks like we're pretty close right now. We did come out here on Tuesday, this is someone alluded, I think, for our Mayor on the Block, which is a monthly walk we do in a different part of the city. Rome was with us. We came to the site here, of course. We went down the side streets that had the worst flooding, and talked with Pam, which was one of the, unfortunately one of the low points over there. We also learned that people were maybe not coming to the businesses, even though there's some local traffic-only signs. So we did add some business open signs. And I just want to mention the plan for getting everything redone and open over here. Once we're done with the roadway of Monroe, we're then there are parts of Rosedale that were affected as well, mostly subterranean stuff, I think. It's not always obvious. As you probably are aware, some of the utility companies were here because there was damage from the massive amount of water inundating their systems. Next we'll be on to, once we finish the roadway of Monroe, we'll be on to the two portions of Rosedale that touch Monroe, milling and resurfacing those. And then when that's finished, we're going to come back and do the sidewalks. And we plan to, there are some decorative elements in that. We plan to maintain all of those as we do that. So that's pretty much what I had about the incident.
What we're going to do is, if you have a question you'd like to ask, we're going to do some questions now. If you want to, you don't have to do questions, but if you have a question you want to ask, this would be the time to ask it. And if you have a question, Peter is where? Peter's right there with a microphone. Does anyone here have a pointed question you want to ask about what happened or the follow-up, or I guess this lady had her hand up first back there, and then you have a and you had, all right, so we'll do a stack.
Hi. My name's Ruth. I live over on Rosedale Street. I'm just wondering, when do they think they're going to get the road completely open around Monroe?
Monroe seems quite close now. I don't have an exact date, but it looks like it's days.
Okay, we have a question on this side, and we'll come back to this side. Yeah.
Question about the leak itself and the investigation earlier in the day. What made them think it was a 12-inch using listening equipment? They're separate water mains. You're listening on a 36, you're listening on a 12.
It's a great point. So the city has, there's a couple things. So the city has approximately 60 water main breaks a year, which actually the industry standard, I'm told, is about, I believe it's, when you take the number of pipe miles we have.
It's not bad, 60 is not bad.
Yeah, and so we have pretty decent performance with our 60 per year. However, only 2 in the last 2 decades have been a 36-inch main. So just probabilistically, it's much more likely to be the smaller main. But the other thing is, they actually did believe, based on the sounding, that it was the 12-inch, and the sounding does not work as well on the large main because it's basically such a massive flow that you just hear a roar.
So we'll come back if you have more.
Hi, can you hear me? My name is Jose, 5254 Luzerne Street. Respectfully, you start off talking about an interruption of fresh water and so forth. Mr. Celli was kind enough to set this up regarding, I have over $25,000 of damage.
We're going to do that later. We're just talking about question about
Let's talk about the flood. There's 6 feet of water in my basement.
We'll get there. I promise you we'll get there. Yeah.
Yes, they were hit on this.
I promise you we'll get there.
My understanding is that the huge pipe that burst was laid in 1903. If that's correct, what is going to happen now so that we don't have repeats? Is that over 100-year-old pipe going to be replaced?
Well, certainly that section has been replaced, but I don't believe that there is currently in the capital investment plan money to replace all of the 36-inch mains. I also don't think there's necessarily reason to expect that this will happen considerably more often than it has in the past. But I mean, there is a constant tension between water rates and reinvestment in the system. And if more people would like to see more reinvestment in the system, they're willing to pay higher rates, that's certainly something that can be articulated to elected officials.
Hi, I live over on Rosedale, and so, we've been dealing with a lot of trying to navigate driving around the roads and everything like that. And, I understand the trying to figure out, where to close things down and everything like that, but you had brought up the possibility of coming down Rosedale Street on either side in order to resurface and redo the sidewalks and everything like that. And that's awesome because there is some stuff that was kind of there beforehand, but I wanted to ask if there was any kind of timeline on that, just because there are a lot of people whipping around and going on to trying to get around Monroe, turning around, and it's not been as safe to drive on those back streets, so I just want to keep in mind how long I'll have to, be going around that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Monroe will be open within days. I mean, we would like to see it open by the weekend, but I'm not sure. It depends on weather, but also just how things go with the construction. When they move to Rosedale, it should actually lessen traffic most likely, because that will actually be, so Monroe will be open again, but the beginning of Rosedale will be closed. Okay. That is the next part. I mean, it should start next week or the week after, I would imagine. I can't. Now I know they're doing one. They're either doing this side of Monroe or that side of Monroe first, and I can't remember which one's first. So it could be very soon, or it could be whenever they finish the other one.
As a separate matter for those on Rosedale, that is planned to be resurfaced this season. It got overlooked on the chip seal because there are a few problems there, but I was told by the spokesperson for the city they are going to make it this season, and it's a very hot topic because it's been a problem for years.
Did the whole run 319?
Yes, that is. They're going to do some resurfacing and some leveling. It's not going to be perfect, as I understand it, Patrick. I'm sorry about that, but I think they're going to get it. Yeah, you have a question.
Good to know.
Hi, my name is Tanya. I live with my husband and our 2 8th graders on the corner of Monroe and Rosedale. My concerns are directly related to safety. The motorcycles and the unlicensed things that aren't even supposed to be on the road have always been an issue, but it has been absolutely ridiculous. It's not happening at night. It's happening when I'm out walking the dogs and my children are riding their bikes and there are motorcycles riding on the sidewalk. I've seen people move barriers and they are just, for fun, ripping motorcycles up the road.
So this particular meeting is not to cover that topic, but I'm fine you ask the question. If you know anything about that, we're not really prepared to talk about that.
Oh, I'm always prepared to talk about that. It's something that
Go for it, John.
we've been hearing about. It's incredibly obnoxious. It drives us up a wall as much as it does residents.
It's about safety.
Oh, absolutely.
It's bad enough when it happens at midnight, but it's happening in daylight hours when members of my neighborhood are out walking and my kids are riding their bikes and I'm walking the dogs. It's terrible that this happened to people's businesses and their homes, but those are things that can be replaced.
Well, Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Point well taken. And let me tell you, there are people here also that were hit by car vandalism. There's lots of issues out there that we need to talk about. But tonight we're really focused on this topic. We have a limited amount of time. There's a couple people ahead of you.
Hi, I'm Fatima. We already met. I'm a craftsman. You said the median age of pipes is 101 years in the city. Do we know the age of our particular pipes and the ones that broke? And is there a plan going forward for replacement? I know you touched upon that, but is there a plan that says the oldest pipes will be replaced or something along those lines?
Yeah, I'm not. There is a prioritization process. I'm not acquainted with the exact factors that go into that. I'm certain it's need-based. I don't know if it's purely age or if there are other ways of knowing the condition of.
Do we know the age of our pipes?
So whoever mentioned that earlier was in the ballpark. Yeah, I've heard 1904 for this one.
Okay, so 120 years.
120. Next one. You have a question here, and then I think we're going to move on to the next session. Oh, you have one, Pam? You have one. We'll do a couple more.
Hi, my name is Leanne. I live on Overdale. I'm wondering about cleaning up the neighborhood. Every time it sprinkles a little, everything is slippery because all of the silt is still on the ground.
Sidewalks, road.
Yeah, sidewalks, streets.
Okay, I'll certainly see what we can do about that. Thank you.
I did bring this up with the mayor when we were walking down the streets. He is aware of it. And John McManus here. Could you just shout out what you told me?
Yeah, my talking to the head of operations, and they were going to be doing sidewalk. The thing about the cars, though, was suspending them from doing the street sweeper thoroughly. They haven't been through there a couple times, but there's been cars parked outside.
So there's a truck that comes through with a tank on it, and they have to go over the parked cars to get to the sidewalk. It's just awkward to do, but we need it.
So if we have a date where everybody can agree that we need the date of street sweeping and get as many cars out as possible, she said they can arrange that ahead of time.
This is a challenge. We'll have to work on that. Okay. Who is next? John, Pam.
I don't know how it relates or if you can really answer it, but I understand that you've used sounding to identify this situation. Is there any plan to upgrade that to fiber optics or any other kind of thing that might be a little bit more effective? And because it does seem like there is technology out there that could be used.
Yeah, obviously this one didn't work. So in the future, what can we do that will work?
So two things to that. One, we actually are not entirely sure yet that that it did not work. It seems likely deductively, but there is a possibility that there was a leak on the 12-inch main as well. We haven't reopened everything that would prove that one way or another. As to the question of is there better or technology would expand our scope in testing. I'm not a water expert, although the past week has been in education. And I don't know exactly what exists, but I can assure you we are looking at everything we can do to prevent things like this in the future.
Bear with me. You're going to have a chance a little later. I apologize, but we want to get through this. We'll do one more. And the meeting is really about how people suffer. We want to hear from the people who had damage done. So we do want to focus on that. So John, if you've got a quick one, then we're going to move to the next section.
Yes, good evening. I'm John Arthurs, and I own 1057 Monroe Avenue. I talk to these guys every day. I was on a brief vacation, and they've done a fantastic job. They told me the only problem they foresee is Frontier with redoing their lines. They may have to, this is what I've heard, they may have to dig up that portion of the street where Lisa's business. So that's what I heard, but I just wanted to comment that they are doing a great job here.
So do you know, are they going to expand at some point? Are they doing more later on? Are they doing quick fix now?
This is the first time hearing of that, and I appreciate you mentioning it.
All right, John, thank you very much. We'll come back to you a little bit. Now I really want to take some time to hear from people who have sustained damage in their property to share their story. And we've got a lot of people who here suffered a lot of damage. So I'm going to ask you to please give us a summary rather than a long statement. Just let us know what you experienced, what you're doing about it, and what the problems are briefly.
My name is Stu Jose, 5254 Luzerne Street. At 2 p.m. is what I've heard. That 2 p.m. in the afternoon, there was a water main break, leak, whatever you want to call it, sugarcoat it, whatever you want. Let's talk about the next 120 years. The reality is at 9 p.m., or 10 p.m., my tenants called me with videos showing water is clearly backing up into my basement. By the time I got there, within an hour, it was waist deep, compromising 2 hot water tanks, 2 furnaces, 3 sets of washers and dryers. I personally called Brach Environmental. Luckily, I was there on my dime. They were there within an hour. They pumped the water out. They set up 10 fans, 3 dehumidifiers, professional grade, for 4 days on my dime. I called them. They had a crew there within an hour. If it was not for them pumping the water, dehumidifying it with hundreds of thousands of dollars of equipment, we would have had mold, mildew, airborne diseases into the ductwork. Not my tenants, myself, and including my tenants.
Did they lose a car?
No, that was not me. That was not me.
There were folks there who had their cars totaled by this water. And there may be something here that you can talk about.
I've heard some of my neighbors had 8 feet of water.
We'll hear from them.
Yeah, that's not my personal scenario.
What do you think your total damage?
I have proof right here. Isaac Heating and Cooling came out. They're $14,000 or $15,000 for 2 hot water tanks, 2 furnaces. Rock Environmental, they're about $4,500. They're $4,500. I had to put the brakes on them to go even any further.
You get any insurance help?
I have Liberty Mutual. Liberty Mutual did not contact me for 4 days. That's nobody's fault. So they finally got a hold of me, and somehow they're going to give me $10,000 only because I have a forced water addendum on my insurance. But normally, that's it, $10,000. I owe.
We're going to move on to the next person. Thank you for coming. Big losses.
The city is the reason why I got my insurance is the city is going to call this an act of God.
But there was negligence.
All right, so let's go ahead to the next story. Go ahead.
Sorry. So we live on Luzerne Street, and I think our house is from like 1860. It's got a dirt floor basement. We had like 5.5 to 6 feet of water in the basement, and it definitely was not going to drain itself. So it was really frustrating on the day of not to have any like help from. The fire people came and like saw what was going on, and they sort of acknowledged that there was a problem and said they'd come back, and then they just sort of drove off at the end. So we've just sort of been working with insurance as well as we can, but it's been a lot of like.
And water came down your stairs.
Yeah, so pushed our foundation in the back. So we're gonna need foundation work done. It came up from the pipes, but a lot of it came through the back. But yeah, so it was like at least 6 inches all the way around our house.
What do you estimate the total loss damage was?
I haven't even talked to structural engineers yet. Like I have no idea what foundation stuff's gonna be. At least $50,000.
$50,000. That's the scale of what people experiencing. Patrick.
Hi, my name is Patrick Casey. I live on Pseudo Terrace with my husband, who's over there. We were at home watching a movie, and all of a sudden we saw some flashing lights and a waterfall noise coming from our basement. In our basement, we have a bathroom, and from the toilet was sewage spewing out of it. We had close to a foot of sewage at one point. My husband and I, we work in education. We were tired after a long day. We had just come home, done all our grocery shopping, and just trying to relax. And we spent over an hour, which is how long it took for it to completely stop flowing out of the toilet, shoveling and bucketing out sewage. So we were covered in sewage. The water was completely shut off, so we couldn't get clean. We saw the fire trucks coming down our street. They can't help with sewage, so we were stuck bucketing it out. I had a couple of good friends and neighbors come try to bring shop vacs over and sump pumps, but we couldn't keep up with it. There was just no way. We did try contacting our home insurance. They had someone come out. A fine print in our home insurance is that they don't cover sewage backup. They'll cover everything else for our flood insurance except sewage backup. So I expect we are going to have to, this is not even including the losses that we have of food, other items, fitness equipment we have down there, over $6,000. And I have copies of my invoice. I expect the city of Rochester to help people and to do the right thing, because we're two people that work for nonprofits and education. We don't have the money to just front that amount of money out of pocket. Thank you.
Can you hear me? Okay. All right. I'm sort of the middle property. I live next door to her. There was a lot of water. We're trapped in between both the avenue, which is a higher grade than Luzerne Street, and what was coming up out of the street. It was pretty graphic. At one point there was 5.5 feet of water in my basement. My furnace is gone, my hot water heater, my laundry, all of my power tools. I have chunks of my floor, my walls are stained and molding, and my foundation needs to be repointed in several places where it just washed away chunks. So I'm looking at probably $35,000 worth of damage. And I have to do it. The thing that's frustrating for all of us is that you have to do it in a systematic way, because you can't have someone come in and install your furnace and then when they come to fix your floor, remove it again. So we're racing against the cold weather, and we're hoping that our insurance companies will be equitable with us. And where they're not, we're just wondering the sorts of things that can come to us
What
from
do you think
assistance.
Generally, your loss was, apart from the insurance potential reimbursement? What do you think your overall loss was?
About 35.
About 35. Okay.
Yeah.
Did anyone else here have a loss in their personal belongings if you're rented and you lost things in the basement, or if you own property either as a landlord or as an owner-occupant? And did you suffer any losses? Anyone else would like to tell their story? Oh, thank you.
I'm Jared. I live on Overdale, next to Leanne. Pretty much had the same thing happen. I had about 16 inches of water in my basement, both furnaces. Most of them shy. I have to spend $400 or $500 to just see if I have to spend $14,000 on 2 new furnaces. Water heaters shot. They're working, but they're leaking. But I have hot water, but they continue to leak on the floor, and all the both washers, both dryers.
And how is your insurance company treating you?
Same with the sewage backup thing. I have an adjuster coming. I called my local affiliate, and then I called corporate. So they're sending an adjuster out, but I'm not very hopeful on that.
So is anyone else here I know there are people here that have suffered significant losses that aren't comfortable speaking tonight, and let me tell you, there are several of them, and their losses were significant, and they're really struggling as a result. Is there anyone else who would like to tell the story of losses in their home? Someone else? Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. No, you raised your hand. I missed it.
Hi, I'm Leanne from Overdale off of Luzerne. I own a 2-unit. It has, just like Jared's, 2 of everything. The hot water heaters have been replaced by my insurance. They were $7,700. The furnaces need to be replaced, but I can't get it done until mid-October. That's about $14,500. The restoration is over $8,000, and my insurance is going to cover all of that, which I'm really grateful for. I had 14 inches of water, but the insurance doesn't cover contents, and contents are washers and dryers, 2 of each, and so that's that. And then personal contents, power tools, like someone else
Do
said.
you want to mention your insurance company, if you're curious?
Yeah, it's NYCM
NYCM. Somebody's interested? New York Central Mutual. If you were impacted by the traffic flow, if you saw things or you experienced things on your street or on your corner and you'd like to have a chance to tell that story, this would be the time to do that. Does anybody here would like to speak to that? We had some significant, there have been some traffic accidents, particularly on Pinnacle Road. Jeannie, do you want to speak to this?
I'm on Pinnacle Road at the bend around the forest. I want to thank all of you who live in the neighborhood that have to come that way for driving slowly. We've had 3 school bus accidents on Pinnacle at the top of Rosedale, and then almost in front of me. We also had a car that hit the rock wall. But thank God he didn't hit the pole, because then we'd be out the pole and maybe the man would be dead. But he just backed his car up and drove away. And I have to say that it is insane up there. So anybody that can avoid going that way, I know it's hard for all of us. You can avoid it, because it's really dangerous. It doesn't matter. Yeah, believe me. Oh. So thank you again for driving slow.
Thank you.
Yeah, really quickly, I know that we live in a city with tens, hundreds of thousands of people, and people are going to drive how they're going to drive. I was looking out my window one day, because I live on the intersection of Pinnacle and Alliance, where there are 3 stop signs, or there might as well not be any. And I've just noticed the dramatic uptick in the use of car horns. And then most recently I heard some car horns, and then the car was proceeding along Pinnacle, so bearing right around the intersection, headed east. And the car behind them that had been leaning on their horn tore off around them down the wrong side of the road, in a section of the road where there's also on-street parking. And my thought was also about, this is just an annoyance to me, but it's a tremendous safety concern.
My name is Shane. I'm actually new to the neighborhood. Moved here in December from Hawaii. And I just want to say, my mom was almost hit by the motorcycles. They were rerouting around Monroe on the sidewalk. She was up here visiting me from Pittsburgh last week, and she's on crutches. And I had to pull her aside so the motorcycles didn't hit her riding on that sidewalk. The aggression is absolutely staggering. That's all I have to say.
Absolutely right. Very much on point. We know it's a serious problem that's been happening for a while and nothing's been done about it, so we get it. Yes, would like to speak to your experience?
Yeah, and my name is Eric McDavis. I live on the corner of 1035, corner of Rosedale. I just want to make sure there's not going to be any more construction at like 2 o'clock in the morning. I was woken up at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I called the city. They said it wasn't, 311 wasn't working, and the water authority said it wasn't them, but there was people out there using jackhammers and road saws and stuff at 2 o'clock in the morning. That's like crazy.
Jeannie, before you go, I'm going to have Colleen go. Colleen?
I'm Colleen Wiggs. I own that property across the street from here in the greenhouse. And I second the jackhammering that was going on at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. And 911 would not answer when we called them because it was not a noise ordinance because they were workers. Also, there was a city school bus that drove down the sidewalk, hit a worker's car, and I applaud the gentleman who complimented the workers because they are working hard, except for the ones that were working at 3 a.m. And the city school bus hit the worker's truck and then continued to drive down Rosedale on the sidewalk. And so the safety concerns have been aired, and yeah, that's all I got.
So there's a real tension between getting done quickly and being both disruptive to life as well as having dangerous incidents. Yeah, Charlie.
Thank you.
very much. Just to follow up on some of the safety concerns, I live on Alliance, and I know that coming out, maybe this could help. I just lived down the street from Jeannie, wherever she went. I would suggest that having some mirrors placed coming out from Alliance onto Monroe has been very, very dicey. You don't see the traffic coming, especially from the left. And it would be really helpful if cars are parked, you just don't see them. So some kind of mirror there would not be very costly.
Some suggestions have come up have been temporary four-way stops and temporary speed bumps applied particularly on Pinnacle. Can you send this down?
I have a future concern. I noticed out here by the lake they narrowed that road, and I know a lot of traffic comes through Monroe Avenue, a lot of street parking, but I worry about future bottlenecking at that light.
Down at Hinsdale?
Just like church, that way. My bad.
You mean they narrowed the sign?
No, they narrowed the curve.
With a median.
Oh, you mean a border car?
Yeah, like right outside front of the church.
So there is here outside this church. Yeah. Okay. Do you feel okay if I already mentioned the bumps? Good. All right. Jenny, if you would speak to... so businesses have been dramatically affected by, many of them, not all of them, many of them have been affected by the road closure. Grass-fed, Rob Neup is away now, but Jenny Gimignani is here, and she's going to talk a little. She's one of our community connectors, but she also works at Grass-fed, and she's going to speak on behalf of Rob. Please, Jenny.
Rob actually wrote up something for me to read. It's 2 paragraphs, so not very long. Thank you for taking the time to hear from small businesses like Grass-Fed Vegan Butcher Shop. I know that there are other businesses and community members to hear from, so I will try and keep this brief. Before the water main break, Grass-Fed had been exceeding what we had done the prior year by roughly 15%. When the water main broke, our momentum has shifted. From 9/13 to 9/24 of this year, we have had 204 transactions. From the same time period from the previous year, we did 298 transactions. So we've seen a drop of a third with our business. We've been hit particularly hard through the delivery apps, as we are seeing that this year we are only getting a third of the business that we got the previous year. That time period also has our revenue drop over 50% from 2024. With the projected timeline for repairs hopefully moving along expeditiously, the street should be repaired, but there is a much longer timeline ahead for all business to re-educate our customers that we are open for business and that they can come in again. Anything the city can do to help get the word out that we are still open for business and that we need the community's help now more than ever would be greatly appreciated. If there is something that Visit Rochester, the Chamber of Commerce Greater Rock, or any other group in the city could do to promote our businesses, it would definitely help. In addition, I don't know if there are any city or state grant aid assistance that could help us cover our losses and go a long way to help us get back to where we were last year and hopefully continue to grow our business in the greater Rochester area. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny. Jen, do you want to... Lisa, would you like to speak? Yeah. Thank you. Go ahead.
The first week of the break, business was tragic. I own the pet store. It was really bad. We'll recover because we've been there 20-some years, almost 30. What was I going to say? One thing that would really help, there is a blue sign where it says road closure at Crossman Terrace on Monroe Avenue, and it says business district is open. If they could move that from the left side to the right side, where people are driving, that would help immensely, because just today someone called and said, I can't get to your store. And they were at Crossman Terrace and Monroe, and I said, just keep driving through the gate. The business district is open. You can go right up to Shepherd Street, but no one knows that, and they don't see that sign. If they could just move it to the right, it would help immensely.
You're absolutely right, Lisa.
Because they can drive right up to Vegan Butcher, but they don't know it because they stop there. But they can drive right up, so moving that sign would help immensely.
We've also asked that the sign be moved to the Field Street location. There are signs further down so that people can know before they turn around that the businesses are open. So you make an excellent point. Yes. It was. Oh, good. The walk with the mayor, we asked for that, and hopefully they put it on the correct side of the street. We'll check. Okay, Fred, do you have something? Yeah, please.
Hey everybody, I own Bad Ending, which is at the corner of Monroe and 490. So when the water main broke, we were having a live music show. There were a lot of people in from other areas. The water main broke, the water shuts off, and when you've got a restaurant and you have no water, you have to shut down your restaurant because that's how the health code works. So we shut it down, we got everybody out of there, and I kind of figured it would probably be fine in the morning, except then, of course, I wake up, and now there's a road barrier on both sides of Monroe by Culver, and then a little closer to us. And it's naturally impacted foot traffic, it's impacted car traffic, sales are down 50% year over year, but like ultimately, it is what it is, and we will get through it. I am clear-eyed that there is no insurance that will cover my situation from a water main break in the city. That's ridiculous. And likewise, we're all probably in a situation where technically no one's really going to have to pay for the thing that actually went wrong. The only thing that matters to anybody here is what financial compensation will the city fight for its residents to get to solve for the problems both for property owners and for businesses that lost money.
Thank you, Fred. We're going to take a minute now and we're going to hear from our elected officials just to sort of express their thoughts and ideas based on what they've heard. And John, you've had a chance to come up. We'll certainly give you another chance to do that. But Mary, why don't you come up and chat with us?
Hi, everybody. I really want to thank you all for coming out and sharing your stories. It's really important that we know the impact that it's had on all of you, and it's been very significant. I had some thoughts about some of the issues that you brought up, and also wanted to just kind of also add that I think some of your suggestions are good ones. The contractors at 2 a.m., I don't know if John Brach is still here? Yep. So I'm wondering, are there contractors that are working for subcontracting that we might be able to educate that 2 a.m. is not an appropriate time to do road work?
There were, and we have.
Aha, good. That's good.
Everybody hear that? Mayor's office said they made the contractors aware about the time frame for work to be done, and apparently it's been handled.
Yes. And if it happens again, which would surprise me greatly, please let us know immediately, and there will probably be fine.
Oh, they'll be fined, you said? Yes. Yeah, okay. The other issue with the sidewalks and the vehicles, is there a way that we can set up some temporary blocks so that vehicles can't get through? Because it sounds like they're going around the construction to avoid having to make a detour. And is there a way that we can kind of block that off so pedestrians can get through but not motor vehicles?
They move the grates too. I've seen them do it. The metal barriers, they're easy to move. People will stop, they move them, and then
So something heavier that can't be moved.
those orange ones or something.
Yeah. So maybe we can see if that's possible.
Yeah, that's not the time. The motorcycle issue now. No? The motorcycle issue is specific to the construction? Is that right? Or are we talking about the ongoing...
There's an ongoing problem, and then there's the acute problem.
Yes.
They're going around the detours, they're riding on sidewalks, and they're hitting stuff, and so there are... It's been worse.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Right, pedestrians, but not motorcycles.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds to me kind of like a technical question that we'd have to actually see where the barriers are, where the motorcycles are getting around, and what the downsides.
Those metal barriers that you can walk right through, they're not that heavy. I've seen cars do it. I've seen motorcycles stop and do it.
So, sorry, stop, move them, and go through, you mean?
Yes.
Okay.
So we'll follow up on that to see if there's a remedy for that. And I wanted to address, somebody was talking about the Rosedale construction. Maybe they're not here anymore. They left. But I think the question might be, how long is the construction going to be on Rosedale, not when it would begin? And I wonder if you have an answer for that.
do not offhand. I do not have an answer.
Okay, but maybe that's something that we can follow up with Rome about. Yeah. And I also, with some of the solutions that you all came up with the temporary speed jump humps and stop signs.
Mirrors.
And, yeah, it's on my list. And mirrors. Sounds like moving the blue sign is taken care of, and I would really love to follow up on getting Visit Rochester and the Chamber to see if they can, elevate the fact that your businesses are open, or if there's anything that we can do in terms of more signage. I'm definitely in support of that. And, in terms of insurance companies suck. It sounds like there's one good one. I have Liberty Mutual, so I'm like, maybe I should switch. But in terms of what the city can do, I know that we have lawyers and they care about liability. And I've seen it when a garbage truck has damaged a car. Unless you can prove that the garbage man was negligent, the city won't pay out. I hope that there's a way that we can relax that liability for this incident, or at least if there's a way that the city can go in on, there's a grant or whatever. That's something that I'm going to fight for. I think it's a hard fight to have, but some of your losses are so significant that I would hope that we would be able to make some exceptions to our usual policy of not covering those things.
Up to you. Thank you for telling us. I'm listening.
Right. Yeah. So it sounds like there's a lot of litigation. And and maybe that's something to suggest with the neighborhood group. Is there a way that you can kind of pull people together? If I know I'm like a representative of the city and fiscally responsible, but also I'm your representative. If there's a way that you could help people, if it came to that, to kind of collectively make a case.
There would be a strong interest in helping with that, yes.
Yeah, okay. So, just to close, I'm really feeling the pain here, and I can't even imagine what some of you all have gone through, especially with the sewage. I'm so sorry. And, I'll do what I can to work with the city to help. So, thank you.
Linda, would you like to?
Hi, I'm Linda. I represent this area in the county legislature, and I just want to say thank you all for coming together and sharing your stories, and my heart goes out to you. I've done some research to see what role the county plays, and really the only one is public health, and I can confirm, because I did check, your water safety was never compromised.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you very much for coming tonight. Senator Brooks' office would like to just briefly present to us.
Hi, I'm Yusra. I'm from Senator Brooks' office. I have been here listening to you guys. Thank you so much for sharing your stories. I'm so sorry of everything that has been going on. This is a lot to go through, and I've taken down a lot of extensive notes. I'm going to make sure that the Senator and the team know everything that you shared today. And just thank you for inviting me and inviting our office to be here.
Thank you very much for coming. Appreciate it. Monroe Avenue is a state road. So we invited state representatives here because we want them to hear these stories also. Monroe Avenue will be rebuilt in 2029. The last time that was done more than 30 years ago. We had a very vigorous charrette, and we influenced the outcome of that redesign. And we hope to do that. We don't hope to do that. We are going to do that again. Right? All right. Mary from Harry Bronson's office.
Okay. Hi, everybody. So like Rome said, we are looking into how the Department of Transportation plays into this. I don't have a lot of information about that right now, but I'm sure we'll be in touch. And when I do have information, I will make sure to share. Other thoughts I had were, for those of you dealing with insurance, there may be some state laws around what insurance is required to cover. So you can call our office. I'll share that info with Rome. And if you do have questions about if your insurance does not cover that, or even if there's a clause in your insurance rider that says like, oh, we're not able to cover sewage, there may be a state law that mitigates it at must. So you can call our office and we can check into that. Third thing, I am sure the city will probably come to the state and request funds for repairing some of these water lines and making sure we have better infrastructure in place. This stuff does happen, unfortunately. I do know that New York State invested, I think it was $24 billion last year in water infrastructure. So I don't know off the top of my head how much of that may or did not come to the city of Rochester, but I will check into that as well.
So just a reminder, she said that it's state law that controls insurance companies.
Yeah, so each state has rules about what. Each state does have rules about what insurance must cover for all different types of insurance. So New York tends to be a little stricter than other states, which is a good thing. So if you are being told that your insurance does not cover certain things, you can call our office and we can look into that and see if there is in fact a rule about that in case law. Sorry.
Thank you very much. Fatima. So in general guidelines, right? Yeah, right. What is an act of God? Yeah.
Yes, and in general, like, we are your assembly representative. The assembly can help with all kinds of things. So, call our office all the time. Ask us lots of questions. That's what we're here for. We serve the public. So, yes, I will look into what things definitely are covered. And I am particularly curious about the sewage because that seems to me. But like they should be covering that. But I'm not sure. I can't speak for sure, but I will look into it.
Question about the negligence.
Pardon me?
Question about the negligence. Who would prove that the water department of the city was negligent?
Sorry. That I don't know. I am not an engineer.
That would be the result of a lawsuit, if I had to guess. What is the determine whether there was negligence in a case like this? So I think you probably have to have some.
It looks like John has an answer.
John, do you have some guidance on that? What's the process?
So the city has a claim process where you can actually submit a claim to the city itself, and our law department will evaluate it and decide that. But of course, there is the opportunity to go to a court as well because it makes sense to have a third-party arbiter in some cases too.
Right. So if you can make a claim, it doesn't require there to be proof of negligence. You can make a claim. The city will review your claim and decide whether they will help you with your claim. If you're not satisfied with that, there could be other actions.
Absolutely.
I already knew that.
You've been trying that?
Yeah, they're going to deny your claim unless there was negligence.
Well, that may be the result. That's right. So, Beth, I'm sorry. So, from Mitch Gruber's office.
So, Mitch is one of your council members at large, meaning over the whole city. As you know, Mary is your area council member. But I've been here listening all night. I have to say, there was a vacation where I came home to find my water heater had broke while we were gone. And that's the closest I can come. And I know that is a drop in a bucket to what some of you have experienced. My heart really breaks. And I'm sorry. And I really hope that we can be helpful in some of this. I like some of the problem solving that's been going on, and I'm really glad that you got the mayor here to walk with you and get some of that immediate things addressed. With some of the traffic things, especially the ongoing traffic things, one of Mitch's pet projects is this Vision Zero, which other cities have done. It's set with a goal of having no traffic, no pedestrian, no bikers or skaters, no accidents, no fatalities. So if you want to look on the city's website, you can read more about that. If you're really interested in becoming involved in that, you can send an email to Mitch. But that's something to watch for and to alert them to problem areas, because that's something, the kind of thing he's really keen on working on. I also, is Brady Ferguson here tonight?
I don't see you.
Okay. Brady works for a group called the Climate Accelerator, and they are aware of programs where the state has money to help people move to more energy efficient hot water heaters, for instance, and washers and dryers. So I will get a link to share with Rome on that, or who the best contact
Yeah, that's fine.
person would be.
Great.
And I know when you're talking about water heater, you won't want it immediately, but it might be something that can help with the cost and also be more energy efficient for you.
That's a great idea. If you're replacing something,
Yeah.
so the word is that that program will not work with insurance.
Yeah, that was my thinking of upgrading also, and the fact of the matter is, your insurance company's goal is to get it fixed, and when you want to upgrade, you can access those.
So you can't even get the money from your insurance company and then choose to use it in that way. Is what
If
you're
it's
saying.
new, then yes, but ours is from 2001, so they were only going to cover the full replacement cost if we were getting like some more. They were. It's also that there's not time to leave out those grants because we're looking at it.
Well, that's what I was saying. I know. Yeah.
And, you know, there's just not time for that this year. I have to have to eat by the end.
I understand. I understand.
You know, unfortunately, that's a wonderful idea, and many of us would like to access those kinds of things. And we'll definitely contact you because, sure, private demand is cheaper, but, you know, we can't do it right now.
I understand. I understand. But I'll also contact them and see if they think that there's any way that they can be helpful involved.
I just have a question about that. Is it only for low income or is it for anyone?
It's for anybody. I'll qualify that. I'm sorry. Some of it is for anybody, and some of it is there are some income levels at which more help is available.
Thank you very much, Beth. Well, this was an impressive evening tonight. Oh, yeah, sure. You got one more thing?
The one more thing, I wish somebody from the water department was here tonight to tell you more about the process that the city goes through to
Upgrade?
to upgrade and to upkeep the water pipes. Because even though a lot of them are 103 years old and so forth, that before Mitch was finance chair for council, he was chair of the Parks and Public Works. And that is where we learned a lot about, they have processes where they shoot cement into line pipes. So even though they're that old, there are processes that are being
It's
done.
very interesting. You're right. That would make a good topic.
Yes.
You're absolutely right. Well, thank you very much. There aren't a lot of neighborhoods that can turn this many people out to talk about this kind of a topic. And I want to say thank you. Oh, you have something, Emily? Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to know, they have said at convenience times whether or not it is sewage. Like, for example, on the night of, it was sewage because that way they didn't have to pump it.
Your
And
insurance?
then-
You're talking about your insurance company?
No, the city.
The city.
Right. So now they're saying it's not sewage water. So I want to understand, what is lining our streets? Is it dirt? Or is it sewage?
So, as far as saying whether it's sewage or not sewage, I mean, it's water, it's supplied water, right? So it's treated drinking water that came out of the pipe. Now, whether that made its way into the sewer systems, I mean, you're just talking about a massive amount, right? I mean,
it overflowed.
Yeah, it's not like sewage was shooting out of the main, of course. So it basically. I don't know. But if there is sewage, it's because water got out of the lane and got into the sewage system, and then when it pushed it out, started.
Like, how much happens in this, like, if we're gonna walk our dog in the neighborhood, and we're in it, right? So I can't walk my dog without passing through something with, like,
It's still
but it is, but then, like, you know, and we're swimming in it.
This, if John is still John McManus, this is really the topic about cleaning the sidewalks and the streets, because you're walking through whatever is there, right? Yeah, we're talking about the potential health and environmental risks associated with the sorts of things that came out of the sewer on September 13th. I mean, you know this, we've told you this, and you've replied to it, but it's a further emphasis on doing whatever we can do to get that done. And it may require the city's engagement to leaflet cars and really get out there, knock on doors, and help to get this done. Yes, that would also be helpful. Maybe a couple of days where you do back and forth, right? Thank you, John. Thank you very much for coming. Can we recognize Chris? You want something? Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
One is I called in late in the game, I'll say, but asking for some temporary speed bumps, and I was really disturbed to hear that the response that I got from somebody in, I believe I was past to traffic, was that they probably couldn't get them there in the time period that we need them. It would be weeks. And I was also asking that the paint, the V's that point out the speed bumps on Crosman Terrace are non-existent. Can't we get those painted because people are flying down Crosman? And the answer was, well, yeah, we can get that, but it won't happen for a while. I mean, no promise it could happen soon. And I also want to just heads up to everybody that are over, since I live on Crosman, people are treating Pinnacle and Crosman like there is no stop signs anywhere. And they're going as fast as you think they're going, only faster. So really be careful there. Walking, driving.
Thank you, Chris. And just by the way, Chris is a past president of the association, a very sophisticated person, someone who knows how to talk to the city to get these things done. And if she's been frustrated, that is a significant problem. So thank you, Chris. Thank you, everybody, for coming tonight. You were out here a long time tonight. We had to get this done. We had to hear the stories. We had to tell people what was going on. And thank you to those who came, to Mary and to Beth, and to... thank you all for coming. And John, thank you as well. And please extend our thanks to the mayor for coming here and walking this Monroe Avenue, walking down the streets, talking to people in person and hearing their stories. We really appreciate that. And thank you as well for the NIA grant money and all the things you do in the Neighborhood Service Center and so forth, the support we get there. So thank you all. Have a good night, and please support your neighborhood in any way you can.